Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Welcome everyone to Saturday Sanga. I'm speaking from somewhere close to Abbentheur, which is the place of Golokadam Temple in western, sort of southwestern Germany. And it's a spring day, and it's the 16th of April. And today we can have some Sangha together. Let me just get the song link. Okay, there's the song. And there's back to us. Yes, thank you all for coming. Welcome everyone. The early arrivers. What is that? Yeah, my godbrother Hanumat Krishna Swami is quite humorous, and he speaks of the fan club. You maybe know the expression fan club, like people who are fans of somebody, they're the fan club. But the way he uses it, the fan club are the devotees who show up to the Mangal Arti just as the fan is being offered to Krishna. That's the fan club. Anyway, Hare Krishna. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, let's have some visit to the land of Kalyana Kalpataru, which is the land of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And let us jump right into song number 2, Sambandha-Abhideya-Prayojana-Vijnana, song number 2, which is a shorter song than the one we've been singing for the last 4 weeks or so. Let's see now. Okay. Apurva Vaishnava-Tattva atmar ananda prasravana nahi tulana samsare. Let's take the next one. Sva-dharma, boliya, jar, paricoy, jagate, tattver, suno, vivarana. O most powerful essential truth of the Vaishnava, O gushing fountain of the bliss of the self, O a similar truth to those, I guess it's a misprint, to these, there is no equal within this material world. Okay, nahi jar tulana samsare. So tulana means equal. It's tulana equal nahi jara. There is not of them an equal in this world, samsare. Apurva Vaishnava Tattva. So we're going to hear about Vaishnava Tattva. That is to say, the truths, the tattva, as understood by the Vaishnavas. Atmar ananda prasravana. Ananda prasravana, I think he is translating as a gushing fountain of the bliss of the self. And he's addressing this prasravana, this ananda, atmar ananda prasravana. Prasravana would be a fountain, a strongly gushing fountain, prasravana. Okay, then sva-dharma boliya. On account of its own nature, sva-dharma, and characteristics, it is famous in this world. Please hear the description of the essence of this truth. Sva-dharma boliya jar ache paricoy. Paricoy, I guess, is famous, is spread around. And jagate, in this universe, tattver suno vivarana. Listen to the vivarana, the description or characteristics. Yeah, description. Description of the essence of this truth. Parabrahma shonatan ananda-svarupa nitya-kal rasa-rupa rasa-adhara. The parabrahma is the original eternal form of bliss, as well as a deep reservoir of all transcendental mellows. A deep reservoir. Rasa-rupa. Okay, rasa-adhara. Adhara would be a reservoir. Ananda-svarupa. This parabrahman has as its svarupa, ananda would be another way of putting it. And it has as its rupa, rasa. So svarupa, its basic constitutional feature, we might say. And rupa, of course, means form. And this parabrahman is a reservoir of rasa. Rasa is often spoken of in terms in liquid terms, because the word rasa can mean liquid, any liquid, water, or anything that's liquid. Rasoham apsu konteya. I am the rasa. I am, in this case, rasa is translated as taste. I am the taste of water. I am that which is relished in water, or in waters, or in, waters. Paratpar advitiya ananta apar tatapi svarupa-tattva shakti shaktiman lila-rasa-parakastha asraya-svarupa. Okay, this song is rather oddly structured because it has some verses are 2 lines, some are 3, some are 4. And one of them, 7, is sort of 2.5. So it looks like Bhaktivinoda Thakura was a little bit detached from keeping some fixed structure. Number 4, okay, Dasharatha Sutta translates 4 and 5 together. So let's read 5 also. Tarka ki she tattva kabus parshibare pare rasa-tattva sugambir samadhi-asraye Upalabdhi ahamari samadhi kidana. Okay, let's see what we have. How can any ordinary argument ever be able to touch this truth? The truth of such transcendental mellows is extremely deep and grave. It is attained only under the shelter of samadhi. Ah, such a wonderful treasure is samadhi. Okay. Such a wonderful treasure is samadhi. Samadhi ki dana. So dana, that would be a long A. I think it's a long A. Samadhi ki dana, the treasure of samadhi. Okay, samadhi-asraye. Okay, tarka ki se tattva kabu sparshibare pare. So that's the rhetorical question. How could this tattva, se tattva, kabu, at any time, sparshibare, be touched? Sparsha means touching. And tarka means logic, argument, like that. So tarka ki, say, ki is the question word. Ki se tattva kabu sparshibare pare. Rasa-tattva su gambira. Gambir means deep, and su means very, so very deep. Rasa-tattva is very deep. Samadhi-asraye, it is in the shelter of samadhi. It is found only in samadhi. Okay, I jumped to 5. Paratpar, advitiya, ananta apar. Oh, I just realized he doesn't really translate verse number 4, which is simply further giving attributes of parabrahman. It is parat-para, it is the supreme of the supreme, or it is beyond the beyond. It is advitiya, it has no second. Ananta, it is endless. And apar, it has no superior, I guess. Tatapi, even still, svarupa-tattva, shaktiman, lila-rasa-parakastha, I don't know, parakastha, asraya-svarupa. It has as its svarupa, asraya, shelter. Something about shaktiman, maybe that it's including both shakti and shaktiman, the energy and the energetic. And it is svarupa-tattva, is the form, the tattva of svarupa. I don't know. Okay. Number 6, samadhishta. Hoye deko sustir antare. Hey sadak. Rasa-tattva akanda ananda. Kintu tahe ashadaka asvadya bidhan nitya-dharma anusuyata. Okay, samadhishta. Hoye deko. Okay, he's inviting us to look. Oh, aspiring devotee, just see, deko, the characteristics of samadhi with an unagitated and peaceful mind. The truth of mellows of rasa-tattva is complete, absolutely undivided, supreme bliss. However, within that, okay, that's the kintu tahe asvadaka asvadya. Within that, the dealings between the taster of mellows, asvadaka, and that which is tasted, asvadya, have an eternal principle that is inseparable. Whoa, that's interesting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur likes to talk about rasa and rasa-tattva. Tahe asvadaka asvadya bidan nitya-dharma anusyuta. I wonder if that's anusuyata or anasuyata. Okay, moving on. Advitiya Prabhu. Asvadaka Krishna Rupa Asvadya Radhika. Okay, he's specifying now who is the Asvadaka, the taster. That's Krishna, has the form of Krishna. And Asvadya, the to be tasted, is Radhika. That's interesting. One could think it would be the other way around. Dvaitananda, Parananda Pita, Vrindavana. The Supreme Lord is one without a second. And in his original form of Lord Krishna, he is the taster of transcendental mellows. And his object to be tasted is Sri Radhika. Oh, the joy of the meeting of the supreme subject and object, and their transcendentally blissful meeting place is Sri Vrindavan. Parananda Pita, the place of meeting, transcendental. Dvaitananda, the ananda of two-ness, it seems like it's saying. Let's see, where were we? 7. Oh, okay. Oh, the joy of the meeting, subject and object. Oh, I think that's what he's getting of Dvaitananda. The joy of meeting the two. It's the meeting of the subject and the object. Okay. Number 8, Prakrita Jagate Jar Prakash Vishesha Joga Maya, I guess, Prakashita Tahar Asraye Labiche Sadhaka Brinda Nitya Prema Tattva Adarsha Jaharnam Vaikuntha Kalyana. Prakrita Jagate Jar Prakash Vishesh. The special manifestation of Sri Vrindavan within the material universe is revealed directly by Yoga Maya Prakashita. Those aspiring devotees who take the refuge of this Vrindavan, Tahar Asraye Labiche, attain the eternal truth of ecstatic love, nitya prema tattva. The very name of this model of Vrindavan here on the earth's surface is all auspicious, even within the realm of Vaikuntha. Okay, my guess is that he's taking the word adarsha, which I think usually means mirror, but maybe it can mean model. I think he's saying, I think he's saying adarsha, just the model of Vrindavan, which is the name of Vrindavan. I think that's the idea. No, he's saying that the Vrindavan in this world is a model of the Vrindavan in the spiritual world, Golokadam. And this model of Vrindavan, just the name of this model of Vrindavan is all auspicious. Kalyana, even within the realm of Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha Kalya. Jodi Chaha or Chaha, Nityananda Pravaha, Pravaha Sevite, Avirata Guru Padasraye, Koro Jiva. If the living entity ever wants to continuously render service to the flowing current of eternal bliss, he takes shelter of the feet of a bona fide spiritual master. Guru Padasraye. Okay. This phrase, Guru Padasraye, is echoing a verse, part of a verse of Srila Rupa Goswami in his list of the 64 items of sadhana bhakti, of surrender. And I believe it's the very first one, Guru Padasraye, taking shelter of Guru. So it's very possible this is what we're going to see in further development of these songs that he's following Srila Rupa Goswami and his instruction. Jadi Chaha, so if one desires, Nitya Ananda, eternal bliss, Pravaha, flowing, Sevite, in service, Avirata, he takes shelter of, okay, Avirata, I'm not sure, Avirata. Okay, nirasa or nirasa bhajana samudoy parihari brahmachinta adijata shada sadha rati kusumita brindavane Sri rasa-mandale. When he rejects all types of dry, sapless worship, so that would be nirasa bhajana, dry worship, which is devoid of appreciation for higher sentiments. Parihari is giving up, or rejecting. He reflects deeply on the nature of the Absolute. Brahmachinta adi jata. Chinta, reflecting on. So reflecting on Brahman, and always arduously endeavors, sada sadharati, I guess that is, with taste, to lovingly worship the circle of the divine rasa dance in Vrindavan, the rasa mandala, kusumita Vrindavane. I think kusumita would be something like beflowered, full of flowers. Shri rasa mandale, sada sada rati. Okay, and the final verse, Purushatava ahankara, nitanta durbala, tava, tava, tumi sudha jiva, ashvadya svajana. Shri Radhikar Nitya Sakhi Parananda Rasa Anubhavi Maya Bhoga Tomar Patana. My friend, your false egoistic conception of being a male is extremely feeble. Purush. Okay, I think that's Purushattva. It says Purushattva, maybe intentionally stretching it, but otherwise Purushattva would be maleness. So your false ego, your ahankara, which is of being a male, Purushattva, nitanta durbala. It is very weak. For you are actually pure spirit, to me, Shuddha Jiva. And your real family, Svajana, comprises the beloved objects which are tasted by Krishna, asvadya. Namely, the eternal maidservants of Shri Radhika, Shri Radhikar Nitya Sakhi. So we get this Radhikara is the possessive of Shri Radhika. Shri Radhikara Nitya Sakhi, the eternal Sakhis of Radha. Just realize the mellows of such transcendental ecstasy. Parananda rasa anubhavi, which with the apostrophe after suggests that it means anubhaviya, so having experienced parananda rasa, the enjoyment of Maya is your downfall. Maya boga tomar patana. The boga, the enjoyment of Maya, is your tomar patana, fall. You're falling. Right, let's see if we can sing this now. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think, in some ways, because it's because of the varied structure, but we'll see what we can do. We have a nice little harmonium here. Apurva Vaishnava-tattva atmar ananda prasravana nahi jar tulana samsare. Apurva Vaishnava-tattva atmar ananda prasravana nahi jar tulana samsare. Sva-dharma boliya jar paricoy jagate tattver suno vivarana. Sva-dharma boliya jar paricoy jagate tattver suno vivarana. Parabrahma sanatan ananda-svarupa nitya-kal rasa-rupa rasa-adhar. Parabrahma sanatan ananda-svarupa nitya-kal rasa-rupa rasa-adhar. paratpar advitiya ananda-apar tatapi svarupa-tattva shakti-shaktiman lila-rasa-parakastha asraya-svarupa paratpar advitiya ananda-apar tatapi svarupa-tattva shakti-shaktiman lila-rasa-parakastha asraya-svarupa tarka ki se tattva kabu sparshibare pare rasa-tattva sugambira samadhi-asraye Upalabdhi ahamari samadhi-kidana tarka ki se tattva kabu sparshibare pare rasa-tattva sugambira samadhi-asraye Upalabdhi ahamari samadhi-kidane samadhishta oje deko sustira antare he sadaka rasa-tattva akanda ananda kentu tahe asvadaka asvadya-vidan nitya-dharma anusyuta samadhishta oje deko sustira antare he sadaka rasa-tattva akanda ananda kentu tahe asvadaka asvadya-vidan nitya-dharma anusyata advitiya prabhu asvadaka Krishna rupa asvadya radhika dvaitananda parananda pitta vrindavan advitiya prabhu asvadaka Krishna rupa asvadya radhika dvaitananda parananda pitta vrindavan prakrita jagate jar prakasha vishesha yogamaya prakashita tahar asraye prakrita jagate jar prakasha vishesha yogamaya prakashita tahar asraye laviche sadaka brinda nitya prema tattva adarsha jaharna vaikuntha kalya laviche sadaka brinda nitya prema tattva adarsha jaharna vaikuntha kalya Jodi chaha nityananda pravaha sevite avirata guru adasraya koro jiva. Jodi chaha nityananda pravaha sevite avirata guru padasray koro jiva. Nirasa bhajana samudoy parihadhi brahmachinta arijata sada sadharati kushamita vrindavane rasar shri rasa mandale. Nirasa bhajana samudoy parihari brahmachinta adijata shada sadharati kushamita vrindavane rasa shri rasa mandale. Purushatva ahankar nitanta durban tavatumi shuddha jiva asadya sajana. Purushatva ahankar nitanta durban tavatumi Shuddha Jiv Asadya Sajana. Shiradikar Nitya Saki Parananda Rasa Anubhavi Maya Bhoga Tomar Patana. Shiradikar Nitya Saki Parananda Rasa Anubhavi Maya Bhoga Tomar Patana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Gora Hare Bo, Nikai Go, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Gora Hare Bo. Yeah. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. It's interesting that here in only the second song, I don't know how many songs there are in this series, but it's interesting how much Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur jumps right into the sort of highest topic, talking about rasa, talking about asvadana, the tasting of rasa. So it seems like this is us in the category Sambandha-Abhideya-Prayojana. It seems like he wants to really bring the three together, Sambandha and Abhideya and Prayojana, into these songs to show that they are inseparable. If you want to understand Sambandha, he says in verse 5, he doesn't use the word Sambandha there, but he says rasa-tattva. So tattva kind of suggests Sambandha. If you want to understand this, samadhi-asraye Upalabdhi. You need to be sheltered in the shelter of samadhi. In other words, you need to be on the advanced platform. But he's telling us this already in verse number 2. I find that interesting. Okay, Hare Krishna, welcome again to everyone, and nice to see you all. Those of you I can see, I'm happy to see. Those of you I don't see, that's okay. If you don't want to be seen, I can relate sometimes to that feeling. And yes, before, I'm always forgetting, but I don't want to forget to express appreciation of our translators, Daityesha, and we also have, I think Sonia Karani is translating, yes. And Kavi Chandra, are you also translating? He's translating. No? Yes. It's a kind of challenging, it's a quite challenging task, I would think. You have to kind of simultaneously hear, and then you have to think, and then you have to put everything into a different language all at once. Which makes me also think, of course, for most of you, English is not your first language. And so I'm also appreciating that those of you, even you're not taking the help of translation, or technically it would be called interpretation. Translating is written, interpretation is spoken. But I appreciate that you're also mentally translating, you're taking in the English. So that's very nice. Thank you for that. And for those of you who might not appreciate my American English because you've been brought up in England, I don't think we have so many of those, then my apologies. My American English is not as American as some are. I remember it was quite some years. I had joined the Hare Krishnas in Europe, and it was quite some years before I went back to visit family in America. And I was surprised to hear the English of my family members. It sounded so, what can I say, American. Of course, there are so many different varieties of American English as well. Okay, I see also some of you are cooking, and that's also very nice. A little bit of multitasking. This is also possible in this modern age. And so that means that some of you are doing three things at once. You're listening, you're mentally translating, and you're cooking. So that's pretty amazing. If you think about it, what all the sorts of things that human beings can accomplish. And then take that and expand it out. Imagine now, or try to imagine what Krishna is capable of. In other words, it's explained by Srila Jiva Goswami in his Sandarbhas, a little bit in the Tattva Sandarbha, and then I think more later, Bhagavat Paramatma Sandarbha. He explains that one way that we understand God is by just observing ourselves. We look at ourselves, and certain features of ourselves are certainly there. Well, we can say all features and then expand them out, purify them, make them perfect. And we have the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. Today, I mentioned last time, and I'll just mention again, I'm going to have to stop a little early, a few minutes early, because I have another program starting on the hour when we usually end. And I would like to have a little break in between. So just so you're aware. Okay, what are we doing today? Well, we have a message that Subal Gopal is translating into German. Yes. Our thanks for you, Subal Gopal, and for any German speakers, translation is there. Good. Oh, Natarani just came on from Argentina. Hare Krishna. Natarani. Welcome.
Hare Krishna. Sorry to interrupt you.
Say again?
Sorry to interrupt you. Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Uh-huh.
For now.
Uh-huh. Okay, what are we doing today? We can do some more of our hermeneutics discussion, which is kind of a discussion that can go on endlessly. But we can do that, but another possibility, or before doing that, is we can see, because I don't really have, truth be told, a solid fixed plan today. So if you like, we could see if anybody has a strong a strong wish to share something, to announce something. Raja Lilavati, you wanted to announce something, I think, but maybe it's a little early for your announcement, but go ahead. Can always do it twice.
Yes, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. I just wanted to express my gratitude to you that you're coming to the conference in May, at the end of May. You were mentioning this conference last time in a few sentences. I just wanted to say a few sentences about the conference today. So it is at the end of May, as I said before. I have this plan for the conference. If I can share the screen, maybe, if somebody wants to see. So you are presenting your paper at Saturday at 9:30. If some of the devotees are in Pula, please come. We will be seeing and hearing you on internet. I think we will have Zoom also, but I think it could be interesting. So I'm not sure that we could see you and hear you online yet. I don't know that, but for sure, if you are here, please come. This whole ISTRA is on economic faculty. If anyone is here, I can host you and tell you where that is. So I don't think we know exactly how lucky we are that you're coming. So this is why I wanted to share this. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you. And maybe I just explain a little, what is this conference? This is an academic conference, the theme of which is, and I only remember the main title. You can tell what is the subtitle, but the main title is just The Other.
Yes, Stereotype and Prejudice in History.
Stereotype and Prejudice in History. So that's like a broad theme for the conference, and I think it's intentionally broad to facilitate, to give opportunity to many different scholars to make a presentation that is one way or another related to this topic. Stereotyping and othering, and the whole point of someone may ask, what is the point of having such a conference or talking about these things? Well, I would just say because it's recognized that there is a problem. There's a problem in our society. I believe it's specifically aimed at the European situation, that stereotyping is, it's going on in such a way that it causes so much trouble. Negative stereotyping is what's causing so much conflict. And so, what are the causes of this stereotyping and so on? Of course, we have lots to say about that from a Vaishnava perspective. We could start by saying, well, it's because we are conditioned souls, and we could go from there, but that might not be so much appreciated in a conference, which I believe is, this is the history faculty, isn't it?
Yes, Department of History is the organizer.
Yes, and Raja Lilavati is the chairperson of this faculty, and therefore she's arranging all of this. And I might mention that she is also going to be giving a presentation on Friday under the name Eva Milovan Delic, Can Women Be Doctors? Elizabeth Blackwell's view of women in medical profession. So it's going to be a specific focus on a particular career of this doctor woman and the trouble, I guess the trouble she went through, right?
Yes,
Because
she was,
of being a woman.
yes. Just because she was a woman, she wasn't allowed to go to school to become a doctor, and she wanted to become a doctor, to be a doctor for women. So I would focus on this manliness of the 19th century.
Oh, yeah. And if you can see, it's all quite small print, but if you see on the top right, that's where I'm scheduled. Kenneth R. Valby, Ambedkar and Gandhi on Untouchability, Two Modern Indian Efforts to Recast Caste. Why am I talking about this? Well, it's something I came to be aware of as I was doing research about cows. And so what I'm hoping to do, and I still need to get down to work and prepare this presentation, what I'm hoping to do is to point to our stereotyping of animals in general as a possible cause for conflict in human society. Because Gandhi was concerned about animals, Ambedkar only in a sort of indirect way, but still, I think, in a relevant way. And untouchability is this idea that there are human beings who are not quite human. That's really what it's about, I would say. And Ambedkar himself, who became the chief architect, we can say, of the Indian Constitution, a very prominent lawyer. He came from a so-called untouchable background. So he had very strong feelings about this, and he wrote a lot about it. And in the end, very, very shortly before he died, he officially converted to Buddhism. And so I want to call attention to all of that. It's a kind of complicated story, and it's a very roundabout way of bringing in some ideas that might be relevantly discussed with respect to Vaishnavism. But yeah, this is kind of how these things go. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Bhaktin Ipek, you had a question. I guess we can close. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. Jai Shri
Hare Krishna. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, I was listening to your and Satyananda Maharaj's morning class today.
Ah.
At one point, Satyananda Maharaj said something that made me think. He said, before the meditation, he said, I know my Hare Krishna audience, they have heard so much and realized so little. And this made me both laugh and think. So we have sometimes been talking about realizing more through writing, journaling, and discussing with friends. But I wanted to ask you, do you have other suggestions to really digest what we hear and so make our spiritual life fresh in the long term?
That's a nice, yeah, it's a nice question. And yes, I also had to laugh when he said that. We've heard so much and digested so little. Or realize, I think he said realize, we've realized I know my Hare Krishna audience, they've heard so much and realized so little. Sometimes Satyananda Swami can be like that. He can be really, really sharp in a sweet way. like really provoking and saying something quite pointed, but in such a way that you can accept it. That's a special qualification. So it's a kind of a how can we question. And well, one hint that he gave himself in his lecture, I think, was that it takes time. That and so the hint is, I think, patience. And I think it goes back to, we all like formulas, and so it comes back to Srila Rupa Goswami's, you all know his nectar of instruction, utsahan nischayat dharyat tat karma pravartanat. Sanga tyaga sato vrite shadvir bhakti prasidyati. Here, I think it's helpful to remember that he says in the end of that verse, prasidyati. This is related to the word siddha, which means perfection, or siddhi can mean perfection. Siddha can also mean perfection, or person who is perfected. And so the point being that he's really, he's saying in effect, don't think that these 6 sorts of principles, don't minimize their effect. They can actually bring perfection. They can actually bring realization. And realization can be, I'd like to suggest there's kind of short-term realization and there's long-term realization, where the one is building up and developing and facilitating the short is facilitating and building up and giving strength to the long term. And so utsahan, enthusiasm, nischayat, conviction, dharyat, patience, these 3. And then he talks, and then he refers to tat karma pravartanat, where the word karma we all know, but it can also have the sense of duty. And tat just means something like all the different duties that we have. This and that and this and that. All the things that we have to do, pravartana. Vartana means literally rotating, going around. Pravartana means something like, well, just practicing or executing, we might want to say. Sanga tyaga, giving up. Now this could be misunderstood because literally it just means giving up association, but that's not what he means. It doesn't mean giving up association. He means giving up unfavorable association. And then satta vritti, which is similar to tat karma pravartanat as far as I see, but it seems to have the sense of living an honest life, being a, being a good citizen even. Like that. So each one of these, utsaha nischaya, one could stop and say, okay, but how to be utsaha, how to be enthusiastic, how to have conviction, how to be patient, and so on. So these are very general categories he's giving that we can be looking at in our own lives. Am I enthusiastic? Well, not so much, maybe. Then we can ask ourselves, is there something I can do that would fire my enthusiasm? And, many times I'm making this point, when we're asking ourselves questions, it's kind of like we're getting our intelligence in action. And so in this case, same thing. We ask ourselves, how can I be enthusiastic? And then we start looking for resources within ourselves. And one resource is our memory, in which we remember a time when we were enthusiastic. And that can be very powerful because that's based on experience. That's something that it's not that we've read it in a book, and it's not that someone's told us something. It's something we've actually experienced, anubhava. And if we can recall that, then that can be a springboard to reawakening what must be potentially there. Otherwise, how we would have had that experience before. And similarly, with these other, the remaining five principles, we can look into ourselves and see, where is that conviction? Where is that patience within me? And all of these, what we want to do really is draw on the reservoir of these abilities, these qualities, these experiences from within ourselves. And what does that mean within ourselves? That means we're drawing on what we receive from the Lord. And if we are drawing on what we receive from the Lord and we're conscious of that, that can be a way of opening up the gate to get to receive more, to be more receptive of whatever it is that will help us. Now, I don't know if what I've just said makes any sense, but it's kind of made sense to me as I spoke it. Hare Krishna. What else can we do for realization? I always like to remember what Prabhupada said to Burijan Prabhu: learn something and teach it to others. Learn something and teach it to others. So the teaching to others, and teaching can be in so many ways. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, if there's nobody to listen, then you can preach to the walls. So there's always walls. No, but can also, even mentally, and this can be tied in with, note-taking, journaling, whatever, like that, is you can be, as you're hearing or as you're reading, there's a kind of general question in your mind of how could I then convey this to others or to one other. Sometimes it can be very helpful to be thinking of one particular person that you would like to communicate something to about Krishna Bhakti. And you may say, well, I don't even know if I'm convinced of that myself. How can I convey it to others? Yeah, well, it's you start somewhere, and you may be starting from just feeling that what I've heard, it really makes a lot of sense to me. I can't claim that I've digested it. I can't claim that I embody it, but it sure makes a lot of sense to me. And if it makes sense to me, maybe it'll make sense to you also, to the next person. And as I'm telling you how it makes sense to me, it just might become more than just making sense to me. It might actually, as they say in German, der Groschen ist gefallen. One may feel, yes, I really get it now. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So to summarize, we can look at those 6 principles which Rupa Goswami has explained, and we can expand each of them and think and look at our experiences with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can also learn things in a way that is ready for also representing to others. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good. And from time to time, we may also do well to remind ourselves of what not to do. You know, as Rupa Goswami lists also, what is it, verse number 2. I get them, the numbers mixed, there's 2 and there's 3. But atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangas chalolyam cha shadbir bhakti vinashyati. The things that destroy bhakti. So it might be that we're not really eating too much, atyahara. But I don't know, maybe there's something else we're consuming, because the word ahara can be more general, consuming, sort of drawing into ourselves. Maybe there's something that we are consuming too much. And so on. With each of those principles, we might want to check and see, is there something there that might be maybe not destroying our bhakti, but maybe the brake is being held on. Maybe we haven't quite released the emergency brake. Or as again, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur says, we may be like the wedding party in the boat, rowing all night, and alas and alack, we find to our dismay the next morning that we're in the same place. Why? Because we forgot to lift the anchor. So maybe there's an anchor dragging us. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to say about the first of the positive, we might want to call it Vaishnava positive psychology, utsahan nischayat dharya, etc. Utsahan, enthusiasm. If you're feeling at a loss, where is that enthusiasm, which I have had in the past, but I can't even remember when I was enthusiastic, whatever. Then we can always look to others, look to other devotees, look to appreciate their enthusiasm. Sort of hold on to the waistband of the devotee in front of you and let yourself be pulled. So, so in that way, we're also benefiting. Hold on tight. Yeah, that's what comes to mind just now. Damodar Swami often makes the point that we do what we love to do. If we are attracted to something, we will. Attraction means that's the direction we're going to go, and so. Of course, the whole process of bhakti, we understand, is a kind of recovery of our taste for bhakti. And rasavarjam rasopyasya vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjo ras param dritva nivartate. Restraining ourselves from objects of senses, and by doing so, or with the aim of seeking the higher taste, param drishtva, we can see it becomes possible, having seen what is superior, or param can also mean the Lord, seeing the Lord. Recognizing, acknowledging, sensing the presence of the Lord in ourselves, around us. And so we can also be on the search for higher taste. We can make some effort, find out what it is that attracts you about Krishna. What is it in particular? And you can focus on that. Yeah. That's what comes to my mind.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. We were a few days ago in Munich, where Bhaktin Ipek is living. We had one program at a devotee's home. And I was saying in the beginning how, because it was a fairly small, it was, a kind of normal Munich apartment room, not very big, and it was kind of full with devotees. So I was talking about how things can be in an Indian bus, So I said, we just have to imagine we're in an Indian bus, where just when you think it's completely full, 10 more people get on, and then you think it's really full now, and then another 10 people get on, and so on. And that's exactly what happened in this program. More and more devotees came until it was really a full room. Okay, let's see. We have some things online. Maybe we just go with this today. Okay, Pandava and Bhagavati have a question about Ramayana, which is not about their color, because that was a subject last time. Yes, Pandava, what is your question? Whoops. No response. Maybe he stepped out. Okay, we can come back to Pandava, I guess. Dira Lalita, what happens to a devotee if he has no capacity to follow four regular principles after the person has given vows and goes back and forth to and from following it? I'm asking this question to help out, to help someone. What to do? I don't know. There's a lot of, there's probably whole libraries full of literature about, in psychology, about what to do about addictions. And I always think of Srila Prabhupada's response to the issue. He would say, well, yeah, I've told, I suppose, a few times when he talked with the, I think he was the chief of police of Chicago, city of Chicago, which has any number of residents who have a problem with drugs, young people especially. And I guess he brought it up in the conversation, and Prabhupada said, yeah, we have the solution. If you, the city, would just would just fund programs, give us a large hall, give us a place, and we can conduct programs in which we will have kirtan and prasadam, and we'll solve your problem. That was his solution. So I guess the first place I would question if someone is having difficulty would be their association. What is this person's association? And I mentioned that because without mentioning names, there has been a devotee who some months ago left the Association of Devotees, kind of made it what we may want to call a deep dive into material engagement. Very sadly so. But as I heard this, the first thought I had was, I knew something of this person's association from their work. I don't know them directly, but I can well imagine. And so this would be my first question. What is this person's association? And if that association is such that it's encouraging that person to be slipping and sliding and not always being able to follow, then I would say, well, there's no surprise there. And then it becomes a question of determination. Would it be possible for this person to it may require a radical change because we're all so much embedded in our life situations where we meet certain kinds of people. If you're working in the sort of workaday world, if you're working in some company, it's not that you can do anything about that association, maybe. Then the question still might be raised. Could I change my association? Maybe it means I have to quit my job. No, I can't quit my job because I need to pay my bills. Okay, but Have you really thought about it? Is there another way that you could work and pay your bills? And if not, then okay, maybe you can't change your, let's call it social environment. Maybe you can't change your social environment, but maybe you can change your social environment by being more, maybe the problem, I'm just, this is now brainstorming. Maybe the problem is that the person is being too quiet about their pursuit of spiritual life, when what they should be doing or what they need to do is to be telling their comrades in their work what it is they're about, what it is they do. In a sense, the easy one for many people is being vegetarian, but even that can be very challenging because of social pressure. But one might be more explicit, more open, and say, this is what I do, this is where I am, and this is why I do and don't do. This is why I'm living like this. And the person might be surprised to see that others, when they see this devotee, this person wanting to practice spiritual life, when they see a kind of resolve, one might be surprised to see they're actually respective. People respect that. They might joke about it and whatever, but in the end, they may actually respect it. And they respect it. Why? Because they know it's, you're on the high moral ground. All of our principles have to do with morality, right? Truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, and compassion are the moral, ethical pillars which we want to sustain by avoiding certain practices. And therefore we have these principles, which Prabhupada calls regulative principles of freedom. They are the moral high ground. So people respect the moral they respect morals even if they don't follow them. And when they respect a person who follows them, even if they're joking about it. They may also feel threatened. That's, however, another point. And if they feel threatened by your moral practice, your principles, that can cause them to act in ways which are not at all favorable for you. And then you have to be really careful. Ideally, then you dispel their fear and you say, don't worry, I'm not going to try to convert you. That can be a minimal fear. Oh, they're going to try to make me into a vegetarian. No, I won't do that. I respect your own way of life and so on. Yeah, that's what comes to my mind right now. Is that all right?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Do you think that would be helpful in the case you're thinking of?
Yes, definitely. Because you have given a structure and the steps what person can look into and address those steps. Which is his social or her social environment, and then association on a daily basis, and determination for radical changes, even if that means changing job or
change all your friends.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that's what some of us did when we joined the Hare Krishna movement. I pretty much disconnected from the friends that I had had before. Never heard from them since. That's okay.
I remember, Guru Maharaj, my first question to you was in some public program, and I asked you a question. You were talking about the material energy, and then I asked you a question: how is it possible to be out of material energy when you are in it? I mean, in a material body and working with people who are also in that material energy. And you told me, Guru Maharaj, that the first step is the association. It means connect with those who have same interest as you.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I haven't seen and been in contact with any other people but devotees.
Yeah.
Since then.
Yeah. Prabhupada gives the example of if you want to do business, you want to make money, do business, then you hang out with business people. And same spiritual life, then you associate with spiritual people. Yeah. Good. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Good. Then Avadhutaraya has one of his Stump the Swami questions. The Gita and the Bhagavatam advise us to see things equally, but how to see good and evil equally? Yeah, that's interesting. If we look at the examples that Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita for things that one might see equally, that it's generally happiness versus distress, success and failure, or fame and infamy. I think these three are the typical standard ones. So then, what if we take this binary, as would be said in the modern lingo, scholarly, this binary of good and evil? A couple of things. One, I would say, we don't want to be blind to evil. We want to recognize evil, but we also don't want to be blind to the distinction between persons doing evil and the evil that the persons are doing. To put it in Christian terms, hate the sin, not the sinner. This can be very difficult when we see some really nasty, horrible sin. It becomes very difficult to separate the sin from the sinner. But still, that's basically what we're trying to do. And I would say that's what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, what is it? Verse 9, maybe. Surin mitrar yudasina madhyastadvesha bandushu sadushapicha papeshu samabudhir vishishyate. Now, Krishna admits that this is more difficult than just seeing sama loshtrashma kancha, than seeing pebble stones and gold as the same. That's what he said in the previous verse. And then he says, seeing friends and enemies and neutral people and fools and rascals and saints and sinners, seeing them all as the same, samabudhi, that's a good thing. And vishishyate, it is special. It's a verb actually, but it is specialized, might say. And so Krishna is recognizing that that's not so easy, but he's not saying, therefore don't do it. Just like Krishna doesn't say, yes, controlling the mind is difficult, therefore don't bother. No, he says controlling the mind is difficult and one should try to do it. And basically he says, and don't give up. Now, another point is, it's easy with our language to talk about good and evil as sort of two opposites. But I think what we're also trying to understand in our efforts to see Krishna in everything is we're trying to understand how good and evil may not be so simply defined. Yeah, I mean, the whole subject of theodicy is, that's another one that fills whole libraries. It's the subject of, essentially of justifying evil in acknowledgement of the existence of God, or else questioning, how can there be a God who is all good? Seeing that there is evil. So I don't think I'll go there just now, but that's how I would briefly respond to that. And thank you, Odarya Chandrika, for the time reminder. Yes, I'm looking. I think now we're just going to have time for Subal Gopal's brief question. Subal's question: can you give advice on impersonal tendencies with devotees and Krishna, even going so far as merging in Brahman? Oh, give advice, meaning how to avoid. Well, how much time considering is there? I think what I want to say, what's on my mind, is how it behooves us as devotees wanting to be persons and be personal, excuse me, is to be careful, and maybe even more careful than we think is careful enough, about what we say about others. It's a kind of impersonalism, or it can easily be a kind of impersonalism, when we speak negatively about a person and that person is not directly present to hear us. We speak to someone else. And another interesting phenomenon of not carefully speaking is not carefully hearing what someone has said and then repeating that inaccurately to someone else. This is called creating rumors. And the way to avoid being an agent for spreading rumors is be the point of stopping that the rumor goes any further. So until you have something verified, you don't repeat it. it's kind of simple and kind of obvious, but it's a nice, I think it's a nice principle. I'm preaching to myself now as well. I don't know, probably I've been an offender in this regard in various circumstances. I don't know, but we want to be careful. And I think that's a kind of personalism. A kind of personalism is to reaffirm directly with another person whatever it is that may be of concern. You know, somebody said that you said such and such. Did you really say that? No, I didn't say that. Here's what I said. This is things like that. It can be very simple. So on that sort of grave note, I think I will end there and wish you all, yeah, it's interesting how time flies. You can quote me on that. Time flies. Krishna Kshetra Swami says, time flies. That's right. And so I wish you all a wonderful coming week as the spring further unfolds. And we will see you. I believe we'll see you next week. Let me check. Should be possible. Oh, next week I have. Uh-oh. Next week. I'll let you know because as it stands now, I have 2 other engagements, but I like to keep it going. Anyway, we'll see. We will see how we can do. In case not, then of course we'll let you know. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And have a good week. Chant and be happy. Stay safe. Stay sane. And let us make the world a little tiny bit better by whatever we do. And let's
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
keep taking steps back home, back to God. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Vaishnava
Jai.
Hermeneutics.
Krishna Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna Guru. Hare Krishna.
Oh Lord,
Hare Krishna.
devotees.
Radhe, Jai Radhe.
Hare Krishna.
Radhe. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.